One of the most important tools that every successful trader must have is a comprehensive watch list of the various financial products that they like to trade. Now, that being said, creating a good watch list does require a lot more effort than just putting together a simple list of the various stocks or ETFs that you like. So in this video, I'm going to show you the steps that you need to take to put together a comprehensive watch list that is well organized, well diversified, and only contains high quality products. Now, as always, before we get started here, in case you came across my channel for the first time here, my name is Scott Reese, and welcome to my channel where I'm here to help you learn how to trade, invest, and master your finances so you can apply that knowledge in the real world and multiply your money. And in case you want to see even more content on trading and investing, you can also find me on SKILLSHARE as well, where you can take my very in-depth classes on options trading and stock market investing. And I provided some links to some of the introductory courses of mine in the description of this video below. So be sure to check them out. And when you sign up for SKILLSHARE using any of those links, you'll get a 2-week free trial. All right, so with that being said, we're going to jump on over to my computer now and we'll get things started. Okay, so what you're seeing here is my own personal options trading watch list that I put together a little while ago, although I still do add some stocks and ETFs to it from time to time. And as you can see here, I hope that you would agree that this is a pretty comprehensive watch list. And right off the bat here, I'm sure you'll notice a few features about it, the first of which is that a few of these ticker symbols here are highlighted in either red or green. I'll explain that in a minute. And also that every ticker symbol in my list here is organized by the sector that the company or the ETF resides in. So for example, we have my materials sector and all the ETFs and stocks that I trade within that sector. Same thing for industrials and real estate, although there is not that much to trade in the real estate space. And if I scroll up here, I've got the energy sector, utilities, bonds, currency, technology, of course, so on and so forth. So this is the kind of thing I'm going to show you how to put together in this video. Now, the first question you might be asking here, especially if you are new to the trading or investing world, is how do I find all these different stocks and ETFs to potentially trade? And I'll be honest, when I first started, I did not know half of these ticker symbols myself. And so in my opinion, there are two great ways to get together a collection of stocks and ETFs to start your watch list with. The first thing you can do is simply go into Google and look up the various stocks in one of the major market indexes. So what you're seeing here is the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, also referred to as just the Dow for short. And this index here contains 30 of some of the biggest and most heavily traded companies in the entire world. So we're talking companies like American Express, Apple, Boeing, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Chevron, etc. And this index does contain stocks in a very well diversified arrangement. So it'll have some stocks in the technology space, other stocks in the industrial space, some stocks in financials, etc. Now, the one downside of using this index is it only contains 30 stocks. So if you want an even bigger list, then you can go to SPX. This is the S&P 500 index. And again, you can just do some Googling and look up the list of stocks in the S&P 500. Now, with this index here, there are 500 companies in it. And you definitely don't have to have all 500 companies in your own watch list. In fact, you definitely shouldn't do that. That's way too many stocks to have in your list. So just stick to the stocks that you know of. But this is one great way to help get you started putting together a collection of high quality stocks to put in your watch list. The second great way to look up new stocks for your watch list is to go to the scanner tool if you have one in your platform and scan for a certain set of stocks that meet a specific set of criteria. So for example, in my scanner here, I look for stocks that have a minimum trading volume on a daily basis of at least 1 million shares. It's very important to only trade products that are heavily traded. I also look for stocks with a market cap of at least 1 billion. So for me, I prefer to trade very well-established companies. I also want my scanner to look for stocks with a price of at least $10 per share, and so on and so forth. And then once I have my parameters set here, I can just click scan. And there we go. It gives me a whole list of stocks that meet that set of criteria. And then I can just go through this list and pick the ones that I want to add to my watch list. And I will say this is a much more complex way to find new stocks. So if you are just getting started, if you are a beginner, then definitely stick with the first approach. Just go into Google and look up the stocks that are in the S&P 500 or the Dow or the NASDAQ and pick out the stocks of the companies that you already know. My guess is you might be surprised as to how many companies you already know. So now once you have a collection of maybe 20 to 30 stocks, you obviously certainly can't have more than that, but you want to have at least 20 to 30 to get started with. And of course, also, I know I'm mostly talking about stocks, but you definitely also want to have ETFs in your watch list as well. So in case of the S&P 500, you can use SPY. That's a great ETF to trade. DIA is an ETF for the Dow. IWM is an ETF for the Russell 2000 index. And QQQ is an ETF for the NASDAQ. So you should definitely have these products in your watch list as well. Now, as I was saying, once you have your initial collection of various stocks and ETFs, it's time to organize them. Now, you can do this on a spreadsheet. You can do this on a piece of paper. Whatever works best for you, as long as you can organize your list very effectively. And the way you want to organize your watch list is by grouping the stocks and ETFs that you have based on the sector or the industry that those stocks and ETFs belong to. And this is very important to make sure that your trading portfolio is well diversified. Even if technology stocks are your favorite stocks to trade, then by all means trade them, but don't only trade them. Because if something drastic happens in the technology space, then that is going to affect the vast majority, if not all of the companies within that space. So for example, if you are long Apple and you're long Oracle and you're also long IBM, AMD, etc., you're just really bullish on tech stocks. Well, what's going to happen to your portfolio if the tech space enters a bear market for some reason? All your positions are going to be heavily correlated, and so they're all going to go down together. That's not what you want to have happen. You want to be well diversified. So now this begs the question of how do you know which sector or industry these various stocks or ETFs belong to? And for me, the way I did this, it's very simple. So if I come over here, this is Yahoo Finance. And once you come to this page, you can just go up here to this text box and you can enter the ticker symbol of any stock or ETF that you want. So for example, let's type in AAPL for Apple. There it is right there. Click on that. That brings you to this summary page on Apple stock. And now let's go over to the profile tab. And then boom, here you go. The sector for Apple is technology. The industry is consumer electronics. So you can organize your watch list either by the sector or the industry, or both. It's up to you. The sector is going to be a more broad category, right? There's a lot of companies in just the technology sector. And then the industry is going to be more specific, consumer electronics. Now for me, I prefer to organize my watch list by just the sector. That's good enough for me, but if you do want to be a lot more detailed, you can go by the industry as well. And so it's as simple as that. So once again, for the technology sector right here, I have two ETFs listed, SMH and XLK. These are like SPY or QQQ. They're broad market index ETFs. So trading one of these assets gives you broad exposure to the whole technology sector. And then down here below are the individual stocks I like to trade within the tech sector. And so here you go. There's Apple. And then Microsoft, Juniper, Oracle, so on and so forth. And so when you're building your own watch list like this, just keep in mind that you want to have as many sectors on your list as possible. And again, it's very easy to go on Google and just look up the main sectors in the US economy. And when you do that, you will see things like technology or healthcare, financial services, energy, utilities, so on and so forth. These are big name sectors, very easy to find. So now coming back down here, it's time to explain why I have some of these ticker symbols in either red or green. And specifically the ones I have highlighted here are the stocks or ETFs I currently have positions on in my portfolio. So right now I have a short strangle on RCL, which is Royal Caribbean. Same thing with Wynn Resorts and UAL, which is United Airlines. I also have a short call option on AMD and a long put debit spread on X, which is US Steel. Now the color scheme will show me the type of position I have on these various stocks and ETFs. The ones in red represent the positions where I am net short options. I sold options. And the one in green here means for US Steel here, I have a net long option position on, a put debit spread, right? Again, these three are short strangles. This one over here in AMD is a short call, and the one on US Steel is a long debit spread. So this is a great way to visualize the diversification of your portfolio and the kinds of positions you have on. So just by looking at this, I can see where my portfolio is concentrated. Maybe I have too many stocks on in the technology space, right? Again, which is right here. But as for right now, I only have one position on in AMD. That's the only tech position I have on, so I'm totally fine there. And then with industrials, for example, I only have UAL. So obviously I'm not overly concentrated in the industrial space. Now the last thing I want to show you in this video is how I actually use my watch list to scan for new potential trades. So what I do is every morning I come into my spreadsheet here and I look at my watch list just to get a visual sense of where my portfolio is at. So for example, if I was actually very heavily concentrated in the tech space, then I know for that day and potentially for the next few days, I'm not going to make any more trades on stocks or ETFs in the technology sector. So then I might come over here to the communication services sector, and right now I have no positions on in any stocks or ETFs in this sector. So this space is going to include stocks like Snapchat or Twitter, Zoom, Roku, etc. And these are all stocks that I do like to trade a lot. So that means when I go into my trading platform, I'm going to keep this sector and these stocks in mind. Now the next step is I'll actually come over to my trading platform and we'll go to the Market Watch tab now. And this is the exact same watch list that I just showed you on the spreadsheet, right? I took all these stocks and all these ETFs and just imported them into thinkorswim. Now I wish there was an easy way to just import them all at once. Unfortunately, you have to do it one by one, but it doesn't take too long. And so the reason why I have my watch list imported into thinkorswim is because here I will get to see real-time data. Right over here on my spreadsheet, there is no real-time data. It's just the names of the ticker symbols with a visualization of where my portfolio is at, nothing else. And that's not good enough, right? So again, if I'm prioritizing stocks that are in the communication space, Twitter, Snapchat, Roku, etc., well then in here, I'm going to look up those stocks to see what is actually happening in real time, right? Just because I want to trade Twitter does not mean I actually should today. Twitter may not be in a very advantageous situation to actually be trading options on. So what I can do is go up here and click on the symbol header, and that will sort this whole list by, or it will sort it alphabetically. And then I can just scroll down here and find Twitter. There it is right there. And so for me as an option seller, the main thing I care about is high implied volatility. I'm not going to sell options on a stock with low implied volatility. So over here in this column, the IV percentile column, which is actually IV rank, this is a bug here. Whenever you see IV percentile in thinkorswim, it is actually IV rank. And the IV rank will just show you how high or low the implied volatility is for some stock based on the past 1 year. And right now you can see Twitter, the IV rank is only 4.86 on a scale from 0 to 100. And to give you a visual sense of that, let's come to the charts real quick and we'll look up Twitter stock. And there you go. You can see down here in this chart, which shows you the implied volatility in a visual form, the IV rank is 5%, right? It's just 4.86 rounded up to the next whole number. So there we go. Right now, the implied volatility for Twitter is super, super low relative to the past 1 year. So again, even though maybe I would want to trade Twitter because it is a great product to trade, I will have to pass on it here because the implied volatility is just not good enough. I'll have to wait for something like this to happen for a spike in implied volatility before I actually consider selling options on this stock. So that's basically how I do it. I have my watch list in thinkorswim to show me real-time data so that I can pick out the stocks that are in opportunistic situations. And then I have this more static watch list in my spreadsheet to help me visualize my portfolio and also make sure that the trades I want to make are not going to overly concentrate me in one specific sector. Right? My general rule of thumb is I do not like to have more than 3 to 4 max positions in one specific sector. And so with that being said, that's going to conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please let me know your thoughts or if you got questions in the comment section below. And don't forget, if you want to take some very in-depth classes on options trading and stock market investing, then check out my SKILLSHARE courses, links in the description of this video. And finally, if you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I drop new videos every single week, and you don't want to miss out. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.